Danielle, don't bother coming back. I already changed the locks. My husband didn't even sound angry. He sounded amused. I stood in the parking lot outside my office, staring at the grocery bags in the back seat of my car. I'd left work early because he texted, "We need to talk." I thought maybe the pressure from winning the lottery had finally caught up with him. Instead, he laughed. "You can pick up the rest of your stuff next week," he said. "My attorney will contact yours." I gripped my phone a little tighter. "And if I don't agree to the divorce?" "You don't really have a choice anymore." Before hanging up, he added one more sentence. "You contributed absolutely nothing to my $92 million. The line went dead. I looked at my reflection in the driver's side window. 12 years of marriage had just ended in less than 2 minutes. Oddly enough, I wasn't crying, not yet, because one sentence kept replaying in my head. You contributed absolutely nothing. 3 months earlier, our lives had looked completely different. Andre and I owned a small auto repair shop on the edge of town. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. He handled the mechanics, I handled everything else. Invoices, payroll, taxes, insurance, vendor payments. If there was paperwork involved, it eventually landed on my desk. Most evenings, we'd lock up together around 6, stop by the grocery store, and argue over what to cook for dinner. We weren't rich, but we were happy enough. Every Friday after work, Andre had one little tradition. He bought a lottery ticket from the same convenience store. I used to tease him. "One day we're going to retire because of your $5 habit." He'd laugh. "And you'll apologize for making fun of me." Neither of us actually believed it. Until one Saturday morning, I was making pancakes when I heard him screaming from the living room. "Danielle!" I dropped the spatula and ran. He stood frozen in front of the television, the lottery ticket shaking in his hand. His voice cracked. "I think we actually won." I stared at the numbers, then at the screen, then back at the ticket. Neither of us spoke. A minute later, we were both laughing so hard neither of us could breathe. $92 million. Everything changed after that. At first, it was exciting. People we'd barely spoken to in years suddenly wanted dinner. Distant cousins somehow found our phone numbers. Neighbors started waving every time we pulled into the driveway. Everyone wanted something. Andre loved the attention. I didn't. The first real argument came 2 weeks later. He quit working without telling me. "You quit?" I asked. He shrugged. "We're millionaires. What about the employees? They'll figure it out." That answer bothered me more than I expected. Those were people we'd worked beside for years. People with mortgages, families, responsibilities. Andre just smiled. "They'll find other jobs." A month later, he bought a sports car that cost more than our first house. Then came the designer clothes, private clubs, weekend trips with people I'd never met. Every purchase became a surprise. Every decision became his decision. One evening, I opened our joint banking app to pay a supplier. The account was gone. I refreshed the screen. Still gone. When Andre got home, I asked about it. "Oh," he said casually, taking off his expensive new watch. "My financial advisor recommended opening new accounts." "My advisor?" "No, my advisor." I stared at him. "You moved our money without telling me?" He tossed his keys onto the kitchen counter. "I told you not to worry about finances anymore. I've handled our finances for over a decade. And you don't need to anymore." His words stung more than I expected. Not because of the money, because he was quietly erasing every role I'd ever had in our marriage. The next few weeks only got worse. He stopped asking my opinion. Then he stopped telling me where he was going. Soon, he started introducing me differently. "This is Danielle, not, this is my wife." At a charity dinner, I watched him spend nearly 20 minutes talking to a group of investors without introducing me once. On the drive home, I finally asked, "Do you even realize what you're doing?" He kept his eyes on the road. "I'm growing, and you're not." I turned toward the window. The man sitting beside me looked exactly like my husband, but somewhere between the winning ticket and the $92 million, I'd lost the person I married. 2 days later, while I was finishing payroll at the repair shop, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Andre. "We need to talk. Come home early." I closed my laptop, grabbed my purse, and drove home, thinking maybe, just maybe, he'd realized how far apart we'd drifted. I had no idea that by the time I reached the house, I wouldn't even be allowed to walk through the front door anymore. By the time I reached the house, the front gate was already open. 2 movers were carrying my bookshelf toward a truck parked at the curb. I hurried across the lawn. "What are you doing?" One of them stopped. "We were told these boxes belong to you." Before I could say another word, the front door opened. Andre stepped outside wearing sunglasses I had never seen before. He didn't invite me in. He didn't even smile. He held out a large envelope. My attorney said you should have these. I didn't take it. What is this? Divorce papers. The word hung in the air between us. I thought you said we needed to talk. We are talking. No, I replied quietly. You're making announcements. He shrugged. Same difference. I looked past him into the house. Half the family photos were already gone. The living room looked strangely empty. When did you decide this? I've been thinking about it. For how long? Long enough. I finally took the envelope. Before I opened it, he said the sentence I'd never forget. You didn't help me win that ticket, so don't expect to live off it. I stared at him. Is that really what you think this marriage was? I think, he replied. I've outgrown this life. Then he stepped back inside and closed the door. I stood there for several seconds before turning around. I didn't scream. I didn't pound on the door. I loaded my own boxes into my car and drove away. That night, I stayed with my best friend, Renee. She'd known me since college and asked only one question after I finished telling her everything. What are you going to do? I looked down at the envelope. I'm going to read every single page before I say a word. The next morning, I made coffee, spread the divorce documents across Renee's dining table, and started reading. Halfway through, my phone buzzed. It was the payroll manager from the repair shop. Danielle, I hate bothering you. It's okay. I can't find the vendor tax records. I closed my eyes. They're in the blue filing cabinet. It isn't here. My stomach tightened. What do you mean? The cabinet's gone. I hung up immediately and called Andre. He answered on the second ring. What now? Where are the business records? I threw out a bunch of old files. I sat up so fast my chair scraped across the floor. You what? They were just boxes of paperwork. My voice dropped. Andre, those weren't old papers. They were 10 years of financial records. He laughed. We're rich now. We don't need junk. For the first time since the divorce papers, I felt genuine panic. Not because of the marriage, because of the business. Over the next 2 days, I drove to the repair shop to collect my personal belongings. The office looked completely different. The filing cabinets were gone. New furniture had replaced my old desk. A young man in an expensive suit introduced himself as Andre's financial advisor. We're modernizing everything. I looked around. Where are the digital backups? He frowned. What backups? I realized he didn't know. For years, I'd maintained both paper files and encrypted digital copies. Every invoice, every tax return, every payroll report, every equipment purchase. Andre had never paid attention because he never needed to. He trusted me to handle it, until he decided I had contributed nothing. That afternoon, I met with a divorce attorney named Carla. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she asked only one question. Who handled the family's finances before the lottery? I did. All of them? Every account. She leaned back. Then your husband made a very expensive mistake. I frowned. What do you mean? She slid the divorce papers back toward me. These documents say he has already disclosed all marital assets. So? She looked directly at me. Are you certain he has? I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I remembered little things. The luxury watch that never appeared on any bank statement. The wire transfer I'd accidentally seen on his laptop. The vacation property he'd mentioned buying with cash. At the time, I'd assumed he would eventually tell me. Now, I wasn't so sure. Carla folded her hands. Danielle, this isn't about revenge. It's about honesty. If someone signs financial disclosures under oath, every major asset has to be disclosed. I slowly nodded. Then something else occurred to me. The lottery ticket. I could picture it perfectly. The night before the drawing, Andre had left it on the kitchen counter. While he rushed outside to answer a phone call, he'd yelled, "Can you put that in the fireproof folder with the insurance papers?" I had. Not because it seemed important, just because he asked. After the numbers came up, we never talked about it again. I looked at Carla. I think my husband forgot something. What? I smiled for the first time in weeks. He thinks the winning ticket changed our marriage. I paused. But he forgot who spent 12 years keeping every important document our family ever owned.